You're listening to a Pop House Network podcast for developers by developers. Welcome to OffHeap 73. We recorded this episode live at the DevNexus Conference. We had tremendous fun recording it and catching up with tons of folks from the community. But before we dive into our episode, we wanted to thank our sponsor, Datadock. Today's show is sponsored by Datadock, a monitoring and analytics platform that integrates with over 450 technologies, including AWS services, Docker, and Kubernetes. Datadock's platform brings together metrics, traces, and logs in one place so you can get full visibility into your environment and improve your application performance. With machine learning-based alerts, customizable dashboards, and distributed tracing, Datadock makes it easy to unify disparate data sources so you can troubleshoot faster. Start your free Datadock trial today. Listeners of this podcast will receive a free t-shirt once you install the agent and create one dashboard. Visit javaoffheap.com/Datadock to get started. And again, that URL is javaoffheap.com/Datadock. Thanks for sponsoring this podcast. And now, let's get the show on the road. Welcome to Java OffHeap, DevNexus 2022 edition. Hey, my name is Freddie Ime, and I'm here at DevNexus. Pretty convinced you didn't know better. They should have known better to not invite us back, but they did. So now we are recording our big OffHeap newscast here, and the fun part is that I got to see people in 3D.
Yeah, we're actually here.
Like here.
In vivo.
So the fun part for those who are like tuning in for the first time, my name is Freddie Ime. I'm one of the principal engineers at Expedia, author, speaker, Seattle Java User Group organizer. I'm here with my usual suspects.
Yep. Bob Paulin, Apache Software Foundation member, independent consultant from Chicago, Java champion, and CJUG board chair.
Nice.
And we have
now I introduce myself.
Yes, let's.
I'm Matt Raible, a developer advocate at Okta. I run the Denver Java User Group, and I don't really run it. I just schedule speakers. So if you want to speak, come back.
That's
running it.
Is it all Matt Raible talks?
This is Danno, or Danno Hinojosa, also known by Danno, independent consultant, Java programmer, Java champion. I like hanging around with cool, smart people because it makes me feel cool and smart. Which, by the way,
he's leaving.
Wait, who am I with? So no, you know what? I don't know if this should be on the podcast, but I'm going to say it anyway. Congrats on making near CEO at.
We're talking about that, right? I mean. So what Dan is referring to is like I became a distinguished principal, so it's even more confusing than before. Like, what is that?
Man,
it just means that now I have to wear like a top hat and.
Wow, it's like you look like the Monopoly guy.
I know that's monocle.
What are you gonna do with that extra $3.50 an hour raise? That's gonna be exciting.
It's only if you land on Boardwalk does he really make money.
Yeah. So once they switched to like I was telling actually this part, like Expedia Group changed from having like cash bonuses to actual like stock. Because I follow like the FANG model.
Good, yeah.
So there is a little bit of a board work element.
Nice.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Do not crash market. We're good.
Do not crash market.
All right, so we're super excited. We usually don't get to do these, again, the past 3 years we've been mostly online. So we're gonna go in first with the news.
Well, we should talk about conferences. We're here at DevNexus.
Yeah, we're seeing people in person.
Let's talk about more of this fun that we get to have, where we get to see each other.
And you know what we should talk about? Awkwardness, like how to handle one another. Like, I hugged someone that I only have like a Twitter relationship with, and it was like kind of awkward. I rarely
Twitter married, and then
and I'm like, I rarely hug people. I don't even
Twitter
know
has
what I
relationship
did.
status.
I feel extreme shame, but like it's okay because like we're in person and everything's all right. And so
Right,
They've
and
got
about it.
stickers.
I have a cold, so everyone thinks I have COVID, right? So it's weird to hug people then too.
That's right. Yeah, people have allergies. You get away from them.
And I'm sitting right next to Matt right now, so I'll be the litmus test
Right,
for whether
you'll have it
man.
next week.
Social awkwardness all the way around. But you know what?
You have liquid medicine, right? Like
Right.
Scotch
it's
makes
disinfecting.
everything.
Yeah, but you know what? Social awkwardness has, before the pandemic was like, oh man, I'm going to think about that for weeks. But now it's like after the pandemic, you know what?
It's gonna be
This
fine.
just
Fine.
has to happen. This is life, and that's okay.
We're all awkward.
It's funny.
We're all awkward.
That is true.
It was like for me it's a big thing because like I am a hugger, right? And it's funny because they like DevNexus is a system where there you get like a little sticker of green.
Well, show them your
Yeah, like there's a little sticker of green if you're like, okay, I'm okay, fist bumping or handshaking. There's a yellow if you're like, you know what, I just like elbow bumps, and then red I think is like, you know what, I just,
Stay away.
yeah.
And you haven't looked at any of them all this week, have you? You just been right in on it.
Oh no! Oh yeah, that's right. No. It's
Hug people in red for extra points, and it's
it's a game.
What I was getting to is most people have one sticker, so they didn't have a hug sticker. So
Oh my
it looks
God.
like
Yeah,
there's
so I have to compensate by putting
That's
like
like
five,
third base
five
nerds,
green-
right?
Like if you run into this card, that means that I'm hugging you. Like,
four green stickers is a tender embrace.
oh, you collect them. Like, I take your stickers. Is that like you hug somebody, then you take their stickers and put it on like.
That's right.
It's like some
It's
weird.
like Highlander in a really weird way. So I
I
don't
was
know about
thinking
that.
flag football, but you pull their sticker.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh! So yes, this is the fun that we're looking forward to.
And it's sold out, right?
It's
Like
sold
there's a
out.
lot of people here, right?
know,
I don't know if that was just a clever marketing scheme on like the front page, but it seems like it is because there's a
I've never
bunch of
seen a
people here.
software conference where there's like ticket scalpers out front. That was like an interesting
that
little
is funny.
facet. Yeah, I thought that was really good.
The lunch was full. There's still lines at the bathroom. Like
Right.
so, I mean, it's
And the
it's
bar.
legit. Yeah,
And the bar,
And
yeah,
the bar.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Did you see Mega Coffee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's this big metal. It's the size and width of this table, and it's about yay high, and it's full of coffee. And I've never seen anything like that.
Are you talking about the Okta coffee booth?
No, just in the hallway. There's an Okta coffee booth.
Yeah, you can get lattes and mochas and all that at the end.
Is this like Mr. Coffee level, like Spaceballs level, where it's this giant machine?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God!
Yeah,
Mr.
they have
Coffee
that here.
Space. Oh, that's a reference. I remember that. Oh gosh, that's funny.
Old man reference.
Yeah, no, it's just top 10 movies for me. Yeah.
Good one.
Highlander and.
Yeah,
And Spaceballs.
we may be going a little too fast here. We may need to slow
Well,
that
back
down.
in
Hey.
back when we saw Howard the Duck.
Oh gosh, do you still remember like the Howard the Duck? That
Yeah.
movie then.
Yeah, it came
Gosh,
back.
that was like a
The
big
nightmares have come back. Yes.
All right. Anyways, actually, there is a big new
there's some-
conference.
yeah.
Like that is like a conference that we thought was completely gone and wiped from the face of the earth. Apparently, is being resurrected.
Can we talk about other conferences in a conference? Like, is there jealousy with that? Or okay.
We do it
Oh,
every
he's
year.
gone.
So,
They keep
He's
bringing
gonna
us
be gone.
back. So I mean,
and Vince is checking it. Okay, and that's it. This is the last
this
one.
is the year.
Vince is like, I invite them over just to talk about another conference.
Well, let's ask this. You all have like your list of conferences there, but what's the next one you're going to?
Well, actually, I'm gonna try to see if I can make it to like the next one, which is Java 1.
Right, but it's like 6 months away.
We
Yeah.
gotta prep.
Like
now.
you're not going to anything before that?
I am not.
Well, I like at DevOps France next week. That's what I'm saying, right?
See, look,
Interesting
I
mix at this
just
table.
got I just got a promotion, And it's gonna be like, no, we're demoting you again.
Right. You're like, I'm on the road. They're gonna be like, no.
You get a promotion, you go to more conferences. He gets a promotion, he like actually has to do work.
That's fair. That's
He
fair.
has to go to work and dream of what Matt Raible's doing
I
at
know,
some
right?
other conference.
Follow him on Twitter. He's like, miss you here, Freddie, and I'm like. So I'll tell you, Matt, what is the next conference you're going to then? Tell us.
Well, so I have DevOps France, and then I have a conference in Brussels and one in Barcelona, Spring I/O. Right?
Spring
So
I/O
those are in
Barcelona.
May, right? There's DevOps UK too, which is in May, like early May. So yeah, there's a bunch that are coming up. I think it's funny that they squished them all into like, April and May though, right? I don't know of many in June. Like the summer's kind of a little low, right? And then
Listen up. Oh, because
UberConf
of
is in July, right? That's
right.
one that we have in Denver, or close to Denver. And then, I mean, the Java 1 news is big because like Oracle's done a really good job of hiring Java advocates again.
Yep.
And it seems like they're really making a lot of progress, right? And
So could I ask like a little bit of a serious question then, like in the face of like, we're still, know about the pandemic. It's at a lull right now in the U.S.
Right.
It's high in Europe.
yeah, and Philadelphia.
And Philadelphia, New York, is,
Yeah.
and D.C. is increasing. Now that we're kind of like an aware mode, but we know, we like our conferences. We know we like to talk about tech. What's your strategy in attending these conferences? Just do your best, be vaccinated, wear masks as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean, I
Just
feel like I
enjoy
have
life at
COVID
the
this
same
week.
time.
I just haven't tested positive.
Yeah.
You're making me feel really comfortable.
There we go.
And there goes Vince.
Well, I mean, they're even talking to dropping the mask thing on airplanes on like Monday.
Oh yeah, right.
Next Monday, yeah,
What?
April
On Monday?
18th.
But you know what? I was going to cuss so hard. I'm still going to no. I'm going to just say BS just out of respect for this podcast.
all right.
But they should drop the take off your shoes thing. Now I know I'm like on TSA pre-check and I have to take off my shoes.
But everyone
Yeah,
else.
it's
But
like you
everyone
pay
has to take off their
$70 to
shoes.
not take
Like
off
if
your
you're
shoes.
talking about theater and like COVID theater, like this is why you have to take off masks. Man, we've had this theater since what 2001?
Whenever that happened,
Or
2001,
when
yeah.
was the shoe bomber? 2003 or 2004?
Yeah, it was after 9/11.
Yeah. That's theater too, man. Let us
Right,
keep our
let's
shoes
drop
on.
that as well.
Come on. Yeah. So, that should have been the bargaining chip. Look, we'll take off our masks, but like, let us keep our shoes on.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I have the belt thing. Like my belt is always triggering. One time.
Oh,
at-
you have to take it out.
one time at DC, I had lost some weight, so I'm at the scanner, but I like to keep my belt on because otherwise my pants fall. And so
Yeah, and it's
I'm at the
like,
scanner.
it's not that kind of search, sir.
hands over my head. And TSA says, "Sir, hand over your belt. Take off your belt and give it to us." And I'm like, "No, this belt doesn't scan. I already know that. I've worn this belt in the scanner many times. Sir, take off your belt." No. So we're haggling through this. "Sir, take off your belt. We're not going to let anyone through." And I see everyone's faces. I feel guilty. So I take off my belt. And me being the absolute jerk that I am, I kind of like raise my hands in the scanner
And it just
wiggle, and like my pants fall down. And I'm wearing underwear. It's like whatever.
We assume.
he always wears Speedos.
Wait, what just happened? And like TSA is like blushing. The lady who told me to take off my belt is blushing. She's like, "Sir, pull your pants up." I said, "Okay." Of course, I'm being a jerk, so I'm like, holding my
Half up.
pants up with my.
Mooning it around, like
raise your arms.
smearing it around.
I can't. Why can't you raise your arms? Because if I lift my arms, then my pants are gonna
Well,
fall
that's
down.
when you just lift them and the pants fall down. And it's like, okay,
Yeah, I did
it's your
screw
problem
around.
now.
I chickened out. Like I could have done like Abbott and Costello like 3 or 4 times, but I'm a coward usually, so I only let it go 2 times. But that was worth it. Oh, that was worth it.
That's funny.
Nice.
Yeah, no. It's interesting because I was reading supposedly for like the airplane thing is like they have to refilter like already like there is a good filtration system on airplanes.
Right.
Supposedly is actually not bad. The only problem is like when it's taxiing or takeoff. Like if you're sitting on the runway for a long time, that's when you got an issue.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm still gonna wear the mask, but the whole thing was kind of hilarious because the CEO of Southwest Airlines, remember, he went to Congress to talk about how safe it is flying and the air filtration system. Like coughing into the mic. Found out later he had COVID. I'm like,
Oh, my
I don't know. Now, it could be like he was on a private plane or whatever. But I thought, I don't know, I'm not comforted by this guy's testimony.
Yeah.
All right. So
But
yeah.
thus far, everything you've heard of has been kind of in person is the model.
Yeah, and
Some-
even me personally, I'm kind of burnt out on the virtual ones. Like, I do have a nice setup with the mic and the camera and all
Yeah.
that, but you just don't get the in-person feedback, right?
Right.
You don't get the joy of being finished and talking with
You
people.
don't get the facial
Or just
feedback
this,
either.
right? The fact that you're hanging out with people after you're done, and there's like that social aspect. So
Yep.
I've been turning them down for probably 3 months. Where when conferences ask me to present virtual, I'm like, no, I only do in person.
I'm an in-person person.
But I also have some like solid COVID proof that like the vaccines work and the boosters work. Because I got boosted. I went on a golf trip with like 3 other friends, and another guy got boosted beforehand, and 2 guys came back with it, and 2 of us didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So we were like, hey, that's pretty hard evidence that
Nice.
it works.
Wow.
There's a reason I'm still sitting next to you. It's because I know that it works too. So.
Right, right.
I just gonna get the cough, but not the COVID. That's
Yeah. And so you got your second booster, right?
Well, I'm not that old.
Oh, you're not that old. Oh,
Boom.
wow.
Mic drop.
Wait. Oh, I just came to a realization.
But you did? Is that what you're saying?
I'm old.
No.
Yeah, I just
no,
turned
I
50
didn't.
on February, so.
So you were like, I'm going to get it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, big 5-0.
Yeah.
And then but instead of celebrating, now you went into like this hardcore, like no rice, no.
Yeah, I'm trying to do better eating.
Damn, that's good. That's good. I should really do that.
I could probably be a supermodel now after 50.
Oh, what you say? You're losing weight. Your pants are falling down on TSA. Like
That's right, for TSA. Yeah. Soon I'll be like on the centerfold for AARP magazine. I don't know if AARP magazine has centerfolds, but if they do, I'm hoping to be the first one.
If they're listening, Dan is available.
What a nice man that guy.
Nice young man. Anyways, Java 1 is back.
And when is it?
We are not going to make this list.
We really do have an agenda. Java 1 is back.
that's
So why don't we talk about when is it? Because we were
That's
talking about.
AARP centerfolds. That's our agenda.
I mean, it's in Vegas. If that's any consolation.
But it's one of the first times it's in Vegas, right?
Yes,
It is the first
that's
Like
right.
it's usually in San Francisco
right.
all the time, so that'll be interesting.
I think it'll be good. Like so, I mean,
that part is lodging has been always tough. Like if you ever wanted to go to Java 1, it's
Oh yeah, and there a lot of hotels are just seedy around San Francisco. I mean, they're like you either pay like $500 a night,
Which I
during
don't.
conference time, or you go to like the seedy ones.
Tenderloin.
Yeah,
Right.
where you may not survive the night.
No,
And,
no. You learn.
Yeah.
You do learn.
Yeah, I went to
We
one
speak
that
from
I would like.
experience. I have
Yeah.
a cap of $250 a night.
What in San Francisco? No, during conference
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Where do you
that's-
stay? You can't stay.
Even with the
Tenderloin.
promotion?
No, there's places you can stay.
He probably gets an
surprised.
Expedia discount though, right? It's like
right.
half off.
Even then, though, it's so Las Vegas is made for conference. I think it's one of those where it's a little controversial because Las Vegas is considered like a weird city for
Sure.
a conference, but on the other hand, it was the infrastructure part of it makes sense. Like
Right.
there's hotels, there's space. You don't have to like pay $500 a night for like.
You could stay in Laughlin, take a drive like to the conference or what. You could stay
You could,
wherever. Like,
but it's very walkable. Like if you're somewhere in the city near the Strip, like you can walk pretty much anywhere.
That city, no, not just walk.
I find it
that
walkable.
city is made for drunk walking.
You're corralled down certain streets.
Seriously, like when the first time I went to Vegas, and I was like, oh wow! Like first of all, you can get margaritas on the go. Like
Right,
it's in there. And the second thing is like, the street crossings are essentially just like pathways on top of the streets.
Oh yeah.
So there's like bridges everywhere, and I'm like, why do they have all this Oh.
People don't get hit by cars.
It's like, oh, that makes. But then when I look at the layout, it is made for drunks. So at least,
I want to meet the Las Vegas city planner now. I bet he was a raging drunk. He or she was a
No,
raging
he's
drunk.
like-
hey, you shouldn't get run over by cars. Like we should have like bridges.
No, I mean, well, like, what I imagine, like every day, like they'll get a report, or there was like a pedestrian, like I hope there are no fatalities, but like you get a report, and you as a student customer, you're like, how can I fix this? And somebody said, just build bridges. These are a bunch of drunks. And then it's like, yeah, you know what? This is nice. There's no stop signs.
I can't wait.
Clearly, Java 1's going to be pretty good experience, assuming,
as long as they keep it separate, right, from Oracle World, because it is the same week. Right. But they said they're going to do like separate hotels, like separate events, right? So
yeah. It's still a substrate.
We got a non-believer in the audience here.
As long as the Java 1 people still get invited to all the fun stuff the Oracle people get, like the concerts and all the things, and we can just be a wart on that, that'll be just fine.
Right.
Yeah, that is the story of like Java 1, which went through a renaming for like 3 years. Like it was
Code 1.
Code 1. Right. And the talks are still all Java.
Oh, that's right. The reason why was because they wanted to be inclusive of other like I sort of remember a little bit like, why are you naming it Code 1? It was like, yeah, it's inclusive.
Trying to promote Oracle Cloud, which was language agnostic, but I think they figured out that their brand is really Java. Right. Okay. I mean, that's the language they have some governance of. They have some skin in the game there, and what if you're going to go for an Oracle conference and you're not going to go for the products, like you're not buying all the companies that they've in turn bought. And
I don't think anyone goes to Oracle for products. The products kind of like get sold to them. But
and then it's like this is your reward for buying them.
Right.
You get a conference and we're bringing Aerosmith.
Right.
Thank you, loyal customer. But Java 1 has always been good technical content. Like the program committee does a good job of selecting.
Wait,
talks.
This podcast is not sponsored by Oracle, right?
It is not. That's why we're saying this is significant.
What's going to happen is we're going to submit calls for papers. They're going to look who submitted it, and it's like, nope. No.
They have also made the mistake of having OffHeap at Java 1, though. So even at Code 1, I feel.
They did that once. And
it can still happen.
Really?
But what are the dates? Like this, again, just to align with the schedule, like this is a fall conference, right? This is another.
Yeah, like I think it's.
Which will be nice in Vegas.
It's the second week or third week of October, because DevOps Belgium is the week before.
Got it.
So there's like a little back-to-back going on.
Like Code 1 usually had that weird part where something was almost immediately happened before. Yeah,
and spring conference always was like before or after.
No, after, and then before was Apache. Like something like that.
So and that's our other conference that we're talking about. So both of these, both Java 1 and ApacheCon have open calls for papers. ApacheCon is in another fun city.
What's that?
New Orleans.
Oh, that's a great city.
That's
that's
similar
even better
time
than Vegas.
frame. October 3rd through the 6th.
Like the cool thing about New Orleans is you look it up on like TripAdvisor for restaurants, and like they all have 5 stars.
Yeah.
Because the food is just delightful.
I had that experience once when I was in France, where like you can walk to anywhere, and doesn't matter what it is, it will be great food.
Good.
Yeah.
Like I was amazed. Like there's no bad restaurants. Like how is this possible? Like
they have like live music on every block.
Yep.
Like New Orleans is really fun.
Yeah.
Like
I've never been, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to ApacheCon?
Planning on it. I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I usually go.
As a PMC, you must go.
I'm not a PMC. I'm a VP of fundraising. So
you got it. Come on.
Sounds like you're going.
Sounds like I'm going.
Like the VP of fundraising approved this expense.
And when is that one?
So that's October 3rd through the 6th.
So it's like 3 in a row. If you want to do ApacheCon, DevOps, and then
Let's not work ever again.
Well, it's my job.
Yeah, it's your job. You get paid for it.
You got the dream job.
The rest of us have to bill our hours.
I did that for 20 years. I put in my time.
I'm halfway there.
I'm self-employed, so going to these things are like R&D, I guess, in my budget. I
expense
put a
it.
tax deduction. Yeah, sure.
I expense it, as you should.
You hear that, taxman? R&D.
We're doing research.
It is capitalized investment.
Research.
And development. As you take
mostly the development.
Research and drink.
All right. On the news now, and herding the cats along. The interesting one that happened. I don't know if you guys knew this. There was an Atlassian outage.
Oh, it's still happening.
I heard, yeah.
What do you mean it's still happening?
I've heard it's still affecting some customers.
Damn. So for those who don't know, Atlassian runs Jira, Confluence,
Oh, man.
a bunch of tools.
Bit I feel too.
Yeah.
But it only affects the cloud instances, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like an Atlassian, like everybody has had like that SaaS, like software as a service or whatever it is, which they allow you, like if you don't want to install your own version of Jira or stuff, you can just get Atlassian to host it for you, and then you just sign up with them.
Right.
And apparently, like there was an outage that lasted for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
No, it's still
lucky
going.
employees. Oh my God. That goes down and Jira's down, everyone.
Right, snow day.
What's our ticket? I don't know.
I haven't received any notifications in email, right? Like,
That's amazing. Yeah, congratulations to everyone who had Jira in the cloud. That's good news.
well, no, but the thing is, like trying to figure out, like what happened, right? Like, I don't think we know the real.
It was a SQL script that like dropped instances and deleted data.
Somebody
instead.
had a header that had drop tables.
Right.
Damn it.
All running
Good
Jim
old-
Little
Hipster.
Bobby Tables, man. Little Bobby Table strikes. Was it Bobby,
Bobby
Table?
Tables, yeah, it's
Little
KZD.
Bobby Table strikes again.
Really, it was. I know it was a scripting. I just didn't.
I
know
heard it
which
from
scripting.
someone today. Someone ran a script, and that's what did it.
It wasn't an intern though. It was.
I don't know about that.
Interns are surprisingly resourceful, according to the news. Every time something goes down.
But like, can you imagine like because what that means is there was a gap in database backup, right? Like
Right.
something,
Yeah.
right?
That's the thing is the backups aren't coming back either, right? I think they're working on it, but like the SLA is being violated, right? I think it could be a huge like financial impact for them. But again, it's only like 400 customers, and they probably they have so many that people hate Jira, you know. And I remember when it was the coolest thing ever, right? And it hasn't changed a whole lot since then, right? But we were dealing with Bugzilla back then, and we were like, oh, Jira's so much better.
Okay.
Oh, that's
when
right.
you come from Bugzilla,
It's all
can
about
only
time
look
and
up.
reference and
Right.
like where you're coming from. Yeah.
oh, there's only up to look for. Like yeah, like I remember using, like I still use it, and it's like it's nice.
It's
Yeah.
familiar and.
You know, it's power hungry because like it feels that you know it starts snappy, but as we keep adding more projects, it gets slower, and I don't think we have adjusted our particular backend, but
Right.
but you know that works. When it works fine.
Right.
Yeah. And as I stated on like the sister podcast for this podcast, we need
Stack
sympathy
podcast.
for all these companies. Yeah, I don't use Jira. Sometimes they make fun of it, but like. It's going to happen to Atlassian. It happened to Okta. It's going
Right.
to happen to
If you're
everybody.
successful, it should, right? Because
Right,
you
you're
got to learn and
successful.
grow.
You're going to get attacked, and you're going to get hit, and you may possibly go down.
But yeah, like this one, like well, at least like the Jira one was not an attack. That was just a fat finger, right?
That was an internal, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
S3 bucket, if you remember from a
Oh
few
God,
years
remember
ago.
that rolling reboot they did?
Man, that was.
Oh
But
gosh.
in the context of that was only like a day,
Yeah, no,
like
well,
not 2 weeks.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so-
some-
but here's the question though. It was a date of a production, like websites were down.
Yeah,
Jira
totally.
is a work tool where like worst comes to worst, you're like trying to like, okay, I'm gonna try to collect. Like, I think the impact is different. Even
I
though
don't know,
like
if you're a project manager, it's not. That is your life.
Right, if you're above the developers, it's big. But if
I
you're a
think so.
developer, you're like, hey.
Yeah, I guess I get to do what I want.
I think if you have like maybe like a single development office, have anything critical to release right away, it was like, but if you have like a global development where like everybody has to take over for every time zone and everything's critical and everything has to be released very quickly,
like if you
people are
have-
going to
problem.
panic on that.
like I think the thing is like there's memory on like on because it's not like it was like 2 weeks in some future like I know what I was working yesterday, and I know like what I'm gonna work tomorrow. Like I can survive a couple of days without a project management like software as a service, right? But yeah, like a week, 2 weeks, that stuff. The other news that we have is Spring for Shell. Just on the record, I think Michael hates that name.
Well, because there's no reason for 4 to be in it.
For spring
I love
spring
it.
5,
That's
right?
fantastic.
It's only- it's
The only reason as a foreign is because of Log4Shell.
Yeah.
Right? And it's come on.
They're writing that.
Oh man, that's like the new Watergate. Like everyone like puts a
For
gate,
shell.
but everyone puts a gate for something. I'm like, that's not even related, man.
Right.
But now we like putting four.
Atlassian for shell. That was the name of it.
That's what it's gonna.
Shell.
And that one's an interesting one because it sounds like Log4j where it's like, oh, I can just get a shell access, but like the parameters around getting it, it's way tighter.
No,
like, you have to be doing a war deployment. You
on
have
a
to be
container
on a container. You have to be using the wrong versions.
Java 9 and above.
Java 9 and above,
right.
Which a lot of people are still on 8.
Yeah. And they're like, I don't need to migrate. Why? Why should I migrate?
It's like, again, like if you're using Spring Boot, like you're not deploying into the container. The container's part of it, so you're not vulnerable.
In 10 years, right?
But the interesting one that kind of gets hidden behind that is also Spring Function is impacted, but it's like that's where you're ended up. Oh, there's 2 separate ones. They just happen to come out same day.
Time.
Okay.
Right.
2 different days. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because those were getting kind of batched together at a lot of the places.
But I don't think it was as big as like you have a shirt for Log4Shell.
Yes.
Right.
Log4j. Yeah.
Right,
well,
right.
Log4Shell was. That was the exploit, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like everyone had to work to patch that, right? And like Spring, I think a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't apply to me.
Right.
Right. I'm doing jar.
We're fine.
I'm not deploying to Tomcat anymore. Right. All that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, and I think now we can, I think those were like the biggest news items we have, and one of the discussions is sort of like prompted Bob and I, and we're just talking about like application security, right? Like we see like there was this things, I guess, and it is part of security as well, even what happened with last year, even if it was a SQL, even if it was a SQL script that was run, it's like, why did that happen, right? Like,
right.
Like who has the ability to run it, and why even if it was run poorly, like why you couldn't just back out of that, right? So one of the things, and I think Bob was hinting at this, is like there's like old rules that we sort of know for being on the field for so long, but there's also like new rules that are coming in because we don't program the way that we used to program, 10 years, 15 years ago, right? And I think that is one of the things that like Bob, helped me with this ones, like the old rules that we had, what were the things that we used to worry about? Like certificates was one of them.
Yep. You install your certificate, and if you're going to do it all the way down, you got to put it in the, on your JVM.
And put a calendar reminder when it expires.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
and make sure your language versions are current.
Right.
Microsoft suffered that. Remember, like a long time ago.
Oh, they did. There was a DNS expired entry.
Yeah,
and everybody. The worst part is that was the place where you went to see, like, if you still have network access, you ping Microsoft.com. I still remember that, like it was yesterday, and it was like I was pinging it's like, shit, we're down. And it is like, no, Microsoft was down.
I use Yahoo because I never use the site, so I know that the ping is good.
Oof, oh, burn.
But yeah, the OWASP top 10, that's another one that's kind of been around forever. The SQL injection thing, which you mentioned in your talk.
Actually, yeah. So for those who don't know, Matt Raible just did a talk about, what was the name of your talk?
Lock that shit down. It's about authorization and authentication patterns for apps, APIs, and infrastructure.
Truth be told, on the placard, it's SH star T because you don't want to use that I in front of
right.
good people, and so.
Is it I before E? No, that's that one. So yeah, and then like the other one that I remember with Bob was like local account access. I remember that was a big thing, right? Like, because when you were working with your own iron, you created like a service, you created a service account, and you have to manage that account. Like that, this service account can access that SQL server, or this service account can do these things. Like, and it was such a pain when you were trying to you create a new database, and the database needed to these 3 service accounts are the ones, and then you needed to rotate the password in those service accounts, and nobody forgot about who the password were.
And there was no containerization, there was no configuration as code, so server drift was more of a likelihood because you had to go into a box and tinkle,
tinker a little bit
Tinker with things,
then,
and yeah.
Let's patch it. Now it's like, yeah, just burn it down and make it. But yeah, I mean,
And that's when you invented the VM.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, now it seems like there's kind of new rules that you have to worry about that really you probably did have to worry about before, but because of all the other things that you were focused on, you maybe ignored it. I mean, the biggest thing that I keep hearing about right now is supply chain things. Like Log4j being a supply chain, like if you have an old version and you're bringing it in, that's what's causing problems. If you have a library that maybe doesn't have the right governance on it and the maintainer can just go in there and just print line in your library because they feel like it, that's a problem. So like supply chain issues are now like...
Well, there was one today on NPM. Did you hear about it?
No, what's the one today?
Yeah, like a coworker posted. Let me see if I can see it. So, the basic gist of it was a protest against like the Ukraine, or not against the Ukraine, but for the Ukraine. And so this guy, what is it here? Node IPC released sabotage versions of the library in protest of the war, and it basically deleted files on the developer's machine. And so with Node,
Russia and Belarus.
So in Node, a lot of people like actually they use version ranges, right?
Yeah.
And in Java, we don't, right? We stopped, even though Maven and Gradle support it, like we don't, right? But in NPM, people do it all the time, and so you do a dot release on a library, and you add a vulnerability, or not a vulnerability, but an attack like that, and like people get it, like as soon as they do an NPM install the next day.
Right.
Right, and so I think that's probably why like Sneak and JFrog X-Ray and a lot of these companies, right, have like come up is because of Node. Right? Like honestly, and they release patch releases all the time, and semantic versioning in general is a good idea, but there's no like QA around it.
Right, like it's self-policed, right?
Right.
Like it's you decide that you want to do it, and you do it over your project. Which brings an interesting question, like, is this something that just happens in the NPM world? Like, I'm trying to remember like a specific case that happened with a Java library that was like malicious intent on a committer to like create that kind of like situation.
I mean, it's harder in Java because you don't have like
there's not like one person running it.
A, you can't remove it. B, like you can. I don't know if it matters, but I don't know, does NPM require you to sign your releases? Because like if you release to Maven Central, like it's really easy to release to Maven Central. So if I wanted to release bad code to Maven Central, there's not a whole lot there to stop me, except I'm gonna have to sign it with a PGP key, and I have an account that's associated with me that I uploaded. So there may be a little bit of accountability if I can trace that action back to a human being.
Right.
I think the Node library is the difference there is it's like usually a one person thing, and they are intentionally being malicious to like. There was one like a few months ago, and it was the guy who was just tired of not getting paid, right? And he was like, "I'm going to show how many people are using this by doing a point release and making it malicious, right?" And so it's the ranges thing. Like on JHipster, we haven't used ranges for years because we know that like this kind of stuff happens, right? Like and Java, like developers never really have. And you know what I noticed using Spring Boot all the time is like if I upgrade my app, typically I just upgrade like the Spring Boot version. And because they're doing the dependencies bomb, right? Like they're the ones that are kind of taking ownership of that. So maybe we need more of that like within Node where you're like, there's a dependencies like SBOM they call it, right? A secure bill of materials that's been verified by someone. It says all these dependencies in their versions are legit, you know?
Maybe like if you get like a React, like you say, I'm using React X or whatever it is, or whatever it is using. Like it was React 5 years ago, then it was Velocity and then Angular. But the idea is like, okay, they are going to be, bringing the dependencies and managing that dependency.
Right.
Like instead of you just adding away all this stuff that you
but it's an ecosystem issue because you're saying if everybody in the Node community is using versions, I might be doing the right thing at the top level where I'm using an explicit version of this one. But if the person that's publishing this and there's transitive dependencies are throwing out ranges, I've still got a problem.
But also in the NPM community, it's often happened with like a trusted developer, right? It would be like me like doing something with JHipster and releasing a new version and everyone on the team being like, that's cool until they realized what I did, right? So it's,
Man, you have so much power.
Well, and speaking of that, I don't know if you heard about this. Like,
So So here's the question: how much for a banner on J Hipster?
how much are you willing to pay?
It's like J Hipster. There's a hipster and there's an OffHeap. Listen to the podcast.
Commit. Done. But I mean, it is fair to say that a lot of the very popular Java projects are in foundations like the ASF. There's Eclipse. You know,
the popular ones, yeah.
There's a jQuery foundation,
it's not,
right?
Yeah, where there's not just one person committing. So that
You're
means
saying the Java.
in the Java community,
Yeah.
yes. In the Java community, you do have a lot of foundations in play where you, like at Apache, if there's only one committer on the project, it's going to the attic.
Right. Yeah.
Because you need to have a three. I think the requirement is a 3 PMC vote in order to release. And if you can't release, well, you're not promoting the binaries either. You're not cutting the code. You're not promoting the binaries.
Right.
So when you have governance on it and it's a group of people, you got more eyes on it. So if one person decides to do something stupid and then wants to release it, you need 3 people to be kind of not really paying attention.
Right.
Or 2 other people
That's
not paying
fair.
attention.
Yeah.
And that maybe helps a little bit, but
like you reduce, right? You feel like the chances
Right.
of 3 people being in cahoots or 3 people or 2 people not looking is very high.
It's the airline world, kind of like with the pilot and co-pilot. Like, co-pilot has to go
Right,
use
they
the
have to
restroom
talk
or
to each
whatever.
other, right? Yeah.
Flight attendant has to step in. There's never like a single person driving.
So in the Java community, like we've done better governance, right?
Yeah.
But also there's not many one-person Java projects that are popular, right?
Right. Nor do we trust. I mean, maybe we do. I mean, if it has Matt Raible on it, and we're like, yeah, totally.
Ship it.
Let me. I'm gonna be like, totally use it, man, because everyone trusts Matt Raible, and so that's
true.
a name you can trust.
I trust with my heart. I can run it and create a template. I don't know if I'm Bitcoin mining by the end of it.
That's right.
I'm just giving him ideas now.
We had that as an April Fool's joke for J Hipster once, and it lasted for a few hours, right?
No
People
way.
thought
Oh my gosh,
that we've added
so
Bitcoin
funny.
mining to your J Hipster app, and if you generate a new app, then you'll start making money.
People download furiously. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the other ones, though, just to cover some of the other things on the list is, a lot of the OS security now has become container security. So where you were looking at patching before, it's more just like,
What's your base image?
check my base image, make sure that doesn't have the vulnerabilities. And the weird thing is, it's like that needs to be done not just at build time, it needs to be
Nightly.
done continuously
On your production code, right? Your production,
production.
whatever, package.json or pom.xml or build.gradle,
it's
right? They all need to be
Docker,
scanned.
Docker,
Docker,
yeah.
right?
And it's essentially our unit test suite now, because all that's also embedded into our IDEs now and tells us which dependencies are
Outdated.
Yeah.
You know what? I noticed that IntelliJ started doing that, and I love it.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
So-
there's
so wait,
dependency updates.
Yeah, when you open build Gradle, and then you see if your version isn't the current, it will have a highlight, a syntax highlight,
Really?
it's just
It's just part of IntelliJ? Like you
Yeah,
didn't
it's part of
install a Sneak
IntelliJ.
plugin or anything like
Right.
that?
Yeah,
That's
and then you can
brilliant.
Alt Enter, Command Enter, whatever it is, and then it upgrades to the latest version, or
Nice.
writes the latest version for you.
Oh, I-
Take that, Dependabot.
I'm an Eclipse user. I haven't seen this yet, so
That's right.
maybe next version.
The other one that is interesting is secrets management. Like before it was, that was kind of funny. Matt Raible says do not put passwords in databases. Nobody does that anymore. But it is true. That's more like user password. But service passwords, you get to access your different resources like databases or other web services. There is a host of solutions that you can do, right? One of them is a secrets manager. All cloud providers now have either some kind of a vault-like secrets manager where you can just put this stuff in, which will then get injected either you explicitly retrieve it, or you
Right.
get injected with environment variables or this other stuff. So your code does not contain any secrets.
So let me ask you this on the environment variable side, because if you have a secret as an environment variable and someone comes in with a shell runner and attacks you on it, they could just
Once-
use
Print
the
ENV,
environment
yeah.
variables.
No, the
Well, you
thing
still
is-
need to encrypt it. Right. The first step is
Like
just
a token.
setting it as an environment variable. Secondly, encrypt it.
Oh, okay.
So then there's no
But like,
decryption.
the thing
right?
is, like, it's almost like game over, right? Like if you manage to get access to a box and manage to actually be able to even look at the environment
As root or
variable-
just as a user?
Huh?
As root or just a user?
How many Docker containers have it other than root?
Oh, yeah, that's right. 99.99999 is all root.
There's some, but not many.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. Like that one, I think like if you manage to touch, you're already running in a container. It's like game over. Like if you have show access to a container, you're done. Like you just can't trust any of that ecosystem.
Well, the craziest one, I don't know if you heard about the Cloudflare incident, right? That happened like last year in December.
What
And
was
it was an internal employee like
No.
doing it and making it look like it was an outsider and demanding money, and he was like he had access to everything.
No way.
Right.
Oh my.
So the whole least privilege access thing is a big deal, but if you have a sysadmin that went rogue, like I don't know how you fix that, right?
Yeah.
Double checks or something like that. But yeah, still like that one's scary.
So one thing I don't know too much about, I know the basics of it is zero trust. Like at one point you have zero trust, which you lock everything down, and then you start opening things up little bit by little bit. But after a while, you have everything open, and you have malicious employees, you have fired employees that you still trust, but they're gone now, and other things. You kind of have to scale back down. Is that part of zero trust, or is that just
Zero trust is you just don't trust anything, right?
right? But you open things, opening up trusts, but then after a while you got to scale back. Like what does that entail, or just
like let's say like I don't like you, Danno, you're fired, and
Right,
then
right.
it's like all right, we need to like essentially just removed you from like any access. Yeah.
Right.
Like it's
That's called Active Directory. They fire them, and you're supposed to mark them as unemployed.
Unless I use log4shell and I already had access to your
Ooh, you didn't need Active
to your
Directory.
LDAP, then
Yeah, well,
actually that it's crazy. Like Active Directory just remind me of a story. Like when my first job that I like it was not a great job, but I was working with ASP and doing websites back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you were fired when you tried to log it into your machine.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work. Like if it didn't work, you start sweating because it's either 1 in 100th chance that something just happened to Active Directory and it just it buggle. But most of the time it was like you walk in, it's like yeah, you know, close the door with the CEO, and then it's like, well, somebody could come to your desk, put all the stuff in your
All right, I've been escorted out of the building before. Have you?
really you have.
I have.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
It's because I was a contractor, right? And I worked with another contractor that advised me to offer my services to like the head of marketing after I left. And I did that, and it was a violation of like the terms. I work for IBM Global Services, so I show up to work and they walked me out.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
oh, so on your first day you were walked out by security.
No, I'd been there a while.
Oh,
I'd been there.
that's quite a first.
I only had
I
like
was
2
thinking
days left. That
this
was
just
right.
at the end. Misunderstanding, like I have to offer my services. Like,
Right, and they're like, you don't do that. You don't do that. That's a violation.
What services? Like,
How was your first day at work, honey? Well,
Oh, yeah. Had better.
well, but so that is one of the things, and I think like just to close the chapter and go to the last part of the podcast is that there is a, you know, like if you've been doing security, there are certain things that are, or if you've been doing like, you know, software development for a while, there are certain things that are ingrained on you, right? Like don't put passwords on config files, all these things. But the other things that you need to know is, or be aware.
wait, what?
But I think
Yeah,
like
no.
the IntelliJ example that you had with the dependencies, like I think our IDEs can get smarter and be like, that looks
they're
like a
gonna-
password, right?
No. They're like, do they like? I wonder if they do that. Like for the I swear
Well, I
that I've
just saw
seen
that-
a warning on a like on a plain text password, and like I was working on a personal project that did not need to be secure, and I think it like
That
one of
doesn't
these
make it
things-
any better. I'm just kidding.
Your habits are forming.
Start forming.
But yeah, I mean, it's fair to say like that takes the cognitive load off of you, right? If they're well-established principles that we can automate, and like, I mean, that was kind of the whole idea of like when they started coming out with the static source scan.
Oh, yeah.
Like Sonar Cloud will tell you like, hey, you know what? This is a code smell, and we've seen it enough where we can write a small program that tells you when you've got cyclomatic complexity at 100 on your method. Like, you shouldn't do that. That's hard to read. And as a computer, I can tell you that without having a human being having to look at it and flag it. And we're starting to see more of that. But the things that are not automated are like cloud policies, like, do I have this locked down enough so when I remove an employee, can they still create VMs and attack me or Bitcoin mine or things like that? Do they walk away with secrets because they were stored somewhere?
Or like the crown jewels? What is it like? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's always an edge to this where it's like, okay, we now have more responsibility. We need coverage for that.
And I think Sneak also, I just saw JFrog this week have their dependency with their red light, yellow light, green light. But I assume Sneak also has one too for your IDEs that tell you what dependencies are. Are likely going to have violations.
No, like that part, like I tried running it a couple of times. It's super easy. It's addictive. Like when you go to a snake and then you just like check. And it's like, yep.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's like, there goes my afternoon.
Time to move from struts.
All right. But before we end, one of the traditions we have at this podcast is that we actually have a little bit of a trivia thing. So there's two ways we can play this. You guys can work as a team, or if you like more of the adversarial approach, we can we can pit you against each other. What would you like to do?
We could do like binary elimination, kind of like the NCAA bracket, I guess.
That'd be too short.
First loser's out.
It's like question 3. There's nobody.
So I play a lot of golf, and I'm not very good. So when I play with the family, we always play like best ball, right? So it's more of a team effort. Because golf, a lot of times, if it's individual, like people are mad at themselves for underperforming. And so I like the team effort thing.
All right.
So we're going with teams?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Us against you?
No, we already know the answers.
So there's no real
there's no
contest.
fun.
It's just we win or lose.
You win or lose. That's how this has worked. Or you get embarrassed
Let's
because
We should let them. Actually, I changed my mind. I think you guys should fight.
we have to fight now.
Why did you just break a pool cue and just like give half to each one of us?
Here's a Twizzler.
So the first part of this is like, who's gonna go first?
Danno.
Let's have to decide.
His name comes first.
Right.
D.
All right. So D goes first. Let's
All right,
roll it.
shall we roll it? So
Guess who of CVEs?
No.
We start easy.
All right. D goes first. All right.
This vulnerability make us work all the way through Christmas 2021.
That'll be log4shell.
All right.
I think you have to name the CVE. Like
We didn't do that, so, but just in case.
That would be CVE.
All right, we'll start easy. All right. It's Matt's turn.
All right.
This project management.
Wait, he
company-
works at Okta. Like, is there a handicap of some sort? Or like...
It just means if he gets it wrong, he's more embarrassed.
This is the golf performance talk.
That's delicious then. All right.
Okay, so the second question is, this project management company, SSAS, Software as a Service, was down for 2 weeks due to scripting.
That's Jira.
Yeah.
Atlassian, right?
Yeah, that's Atlassian.
And potentially more than 2 weeks from over here.
Still going.
All right, ding, 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 ding. So,
All right, 1 to 1.
1
So
to
far.
this framework has an HTTP and spell vulnerability.
Or
Had.
What
It's patched.
What is all of them? No, let me give me a chance to think about it.
Well, why don't you tell him what spell is? Because I told you that
spell is Spring Expression Language.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Spring.
Yeah.
Spring for shell.
We'll give it to him. Ding, ding,
All right.
ding.
I was gonna say that anyway, but the question was framed like I was supposed to say the company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Or whatever. I got the
which
credit.
framework, but whatever.
or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay,
But
good.
the answer obviously was not the company; it was the exploit.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine.
All right. Matt, this exploit leaked information due to branch prediction in hardware.
I just can't think of the name.
It was specific chipset. Just as a hint.
I don't have it. Spectre. Yeah, that was a big one. I remember. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Daniel, you have a chance to pull
Danno,
ahead.
Yeah. Here we go. This highly leveraged NPM module was famous for breaking build when it was removed from the NPM repository.
Oh, man. What was that one?
And I feel like this is like a
Did you know the previous one?
Yeah.
I pay
Well,
attention. I pay attention, but then it just.
I think I
leaves
know
my
this
brain.
one. So.
And I'm not going to tell you.
you're gonna get the next one wrong if I tell you.
This was. I don't know. I'll answer here soon. It's the. It did something important.
Well,
It's like Jeopardy.
Maybe.
You're
Yeah, all
time's
right.
up.
I'm gonna go with JSON parsing.
Left.
Left. Very important.
All right. Matt, hackers posted screenshots of internal access to their security administration system of this highly popular authorization provider.
Come on.
Like a software.
This is like Matt with the golf ball here and the hole right there, 3 inches away.
Okta, baby.
Who do you work for again?
Previously.
So the funny thing about this that might not be known is the app that was like shown is called Super Admin, but it actually doesn't like give you admin access to anything. It allows you to like do support, right? And you can see users, but you can't get their data or anything like
I
that.
can't believe he got that.
But like the CEO named it, right? So it's still like, hey, that was your bad like 10 years ago.
Maybe we should have called
They're
it
like-
read only, and
They're
then it
like,
wouldn't have
yeah,
been too bad.
maybe we should rename that.
People will be like, I'm not interested in that one. All right. This NPM module, Danno, this is for you. This NPM module was changed to print liberty, liberty, liberty.
He's getting all the NPM questions.
I know.
How much know do you do in these?
That should be the one who knows it.
What's NPM?
Colors.
Colors. Right on.
All right. This exploit impacted a popular web server SSL implementation showing data leaks via buffer overflow in 64K increments.
That one. Can I just name the web server?
It was like 185.
Really 1 and 2.
It's like it's like IIS for shell.
No. So the irony of this one
You're
is
gonna
I was at ApacheCon when this dropped.
And it was Apache,
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, but it was OpenSSL was the vulnerability, but the web server that was impacted.
That was
is
3 years
Apache
ago,
web server.
maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. All right, Anna, this is it. This two-factor authentication company has a data leak that compromised their master seed.
Oh, man. Who had that? Two-factor authentication company.
Do 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 do.
Google.
RSA! You guys remember all those little dongles? Like,
Yeah, oh yeah. That one was a while
I don't
ago.
see too many of those anymore.
No.
Yeah, no, it's all the phone now.
The banks still use it. My bank still
Do they?
uses it. Wells
Okay.
Fargo, yeah. But
Yeah?
banks are like the worst. They're so far behind in like modern technology, which is like ironic, right?
Oh god.
Do you have my money?
Do you still have it? We still have
They're
it.
like, we
It's
never
lower
had
than
it.
it was before, and I don't know why.
Get out of here, bum. But I'm a member.
Oh gosh. All right, next one.
Oh, there's the next one. I thought that was
I
last
thought
one.
we were done, but that's okay.
This
Oh,
developer tried to implement its own SSL protocol over a weekend, causing millions of virtual currency to be lost.
I didn't know
Nice.
this one.
But you do now?
I do now.
All right. I don't know it.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
Mount Gox.
I still don't know it.
Oh, okay.
When was this?
You might have to talk through this one because I didn't know this one.
So, do you remember this thing called Bitcoin?
Yeah?
So one of the
Yes,
first
okay, was that him?
cryptocurrency exchanges was Mount Gox, and it was run. Essentially, it was Magic the Gathering exchange. But the
Okay.
guy repurposed it to trade cryptocurrencies, to trade Bitcoin.
Right.
But the thing is, like there was, because it was the only place where you can actually swap like Bitcoins. Like people were flooding the site, and the guy needed like now to have like secure layers. You know what he decided to do?
He's like, I'll write it myself.
I'm just gonna write it. How hard could it be?
Oops.
And did
then-
they ever recover their money or no? It was all gone?
The chain at that point in time, essentially anything that was on Mount Gox, because they essentially hold it in consign, like you deposited with them,
Right, right.
right? They disappeared.
Wow.
I mean, actually, the blockchain doesn't disappear, but it's an account that nobody has access to and nobody knows who it is.
Right, right.
And it
Wow.
was like, now it's probably worth billions.
Right.
What's that effect called where you like think you know everything and then reality hits you and then you...
Oh,
Hurricane,
I know what
Hurricane?
you're talking about. I know this one. It's
There-
Yeah, there's my trivia
Peter,
question for you.
I got it wrong because I can't remember.
Dunning-Kruger, that's what
Dunning-Kruger.
It had a
Come on.
It'll be fine.
Oh my god. And I think that's it. I think
That is it. Yes.
yeah. I think Matt Raible, it's our winner. Our security
If I didn't, then that would be.
That's right.
He only had to self-shame his own company.
That's right. I did you a favor by going
By
down
going
in the
first.
second. Yeah, that's right.
All right, peeps. Thank you so much for listening. They're kicking us out in like 2 minutes, and they're gonna run out of beer, which is even more important.
Gotta go.
So stay safe. Be secure, and
Thanks for the invite as
but,
well.
Yeah, it was a
like
pleasure.
everything, like, thanks for listening. It's always a pleasure having you guys here. All right, it's Freddie signing off.
This is Bob signing off, and since Michael's not here, follow us at OffHeap on Twitter. And if you found this episode uplifting, it's because our curmudgeon was not with us today.
And check out the Stack D podcast, which is on the same network, and we have a lot of great podcasts. We just finished up with Matt Raible as well, so we're going to be.
Who's he?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be finishing that one up, and I think we have a couple of others. I think we have Seb Rose that's still being worked on in production, so we'll have a couple out for you here in the very near future.
Yeah, very, very soon. As soon as I'm not drunk, and then I can go back and edit.
So
Wait,
you
I
might
thought-
get it
I thought
edited
that's when
first,
you
and
do
this will be the
edit.
first one.
Right? They said like 3 weeks for there, so you got plenty of time.
I can be bribed. All right. Thank you so much. Happy programming. All right.
All right,
We
that's a
did
wrap.
it! It actually recorded. Yay!
All right, let me cut off the video.
Right? If it didn't